Really special guest in the nest with us tonight, Jessie Tuggle, former Falcons linebacker, a Griffin product. Looking back at your career, what are some of your favorite Falcons memories?
Oh, I got plenty of Falcons memories that is outstanding. I guess my biggest memory of all had to be 1987, just making the team. That was a big accomplishment for a guy who wasn't drafted, grew up in a small town on a dirt road. But then after that, it was the ultimate dream for me, was playing in the Super Bowl, back in 1998.
Now, you're from Griffin, Georgia. I grew up on the south side of Atlanta in Clayton County, so I know all about Griffin, Georgia, right?
Right.
You mentioned those dirt roads, but when I was growing up, Griffin was a powerhouse in football. When you were coming up, was Griffin a powerhouse in football as well?
Absolutely, man. In my senior year, we went 11-3, but the record didn't make a difference because Griffin was known to produce NFL talent, D1 and NFL talent. Now, to this day, I think with all the high schools in the state of Georgia, and they're probably 300 or 400, Griffin have produced more NFL athletes than any other school. I think 30 plus. Wow. So it's a school and a town with a rich history and tradition. Rayfield Wright, my wife's uncle. I've been knowing him since I was 14 years old, and he one of the Hall of Famers for the Dallas Cowboys. Willie Gault. Just so many guys. The list goes on and on and on. So yeah, man, to be a Griffin Bear, it means a lot to me, and it still does to all the young players there.
And then to go from Griffin to become an Atlanta Falcon, I mean, how much did it mean for you to play so close to home?
Oh, it was ideal. 40 miles south. Griffin is 40 miles south of Atlanta, and I've been so close to home, and playing with my parents. My dad was living there, and my mom still lives in Griffin. And it was so cool to have my brothers and sisters there, friends. I bought a lot of tickets now. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so but with that being said, with that Fulton County Stadium when we first started out, I said, look, man, I got to play long enough to get to the Georgia Dome, and finally played there as well and finished my career there. So it was pretty cool, man. To have a career that goes from 1987 to 2000. So I thought it was real cool.
Now, I want to bring up the word adversity, right? Because we all go through adversity in life, no matter if you play a sport or not. But at some point, it hits us all. And what was one moment in your NFL career where you faced adversity, but you also overcame that adversity?
When you're talking to young people in particular, that is one of the biggest things that you got to explain to young athletes. Everything's not going to be great. You're going to face adversity. It's how you respond to it. It started with me in my junior year when I was in college. I hurt my ankle really bad, and I felt like I didn't want to play football no more. You know what I mean? And I came and played and became an All-American, and then wound up going to the NFL. And then when I got here with the Falcons, the biggest adversity to me was like playing on a couple of teams that was like 3-13, and you feel like every year I got to make the team again. Although I was a fourth and fifth year player, I felt like pressures on me every year to make the team. But it sort of motivated me because I always played with a chip on my shoulder anyways. And so you have to continue to stay positive and stay focused on the big picture. And then when you get into seasons where you really things are going bad, almost like what's going on with the Falcons now, that's when you really got to stay focused, keep the locker room together, and continue playing as a team. And the number one thing you can't do is start finger pointing. And Harry, that'll kill a locker room in a season faster than anything. So, so it's adversity is real. You get through it, and it's better on the other end.
And speaking of adversity, you kind of touched on it there, but what is it like to actually be on one of these teams that's really struggling, like you said, the Falcons are now? How do you think they kind of right the ship?
I don't play on a lot of. Unfortunately, I don't play on a lot of losing teams. For the Falcons. And I can remember a few of those 3-13 teams where it seemed like nothing goes right. I think you get to a point where you're in the season, you lost 2 in a row, 3 in a row, now all of a sudden 4 in a row. And now when you get yourself in a position to win, now you play not to lose. And if you start playing not to lose, you're not going to win. I'm telling you that right now. They're almost like playing prevent defense. We always joke about that as a defensive player, because once you start playing prevent, there's a possibility you're going to get beat. So you got to play your defense that got you there. You got to play aggressive. You got to play hard. And you got to continue to trust in each other and trust in the coaches. I mean, football to me is the ultimate team sport. Ultimate. I mean, you're as good as the next guy playing right beside you, and you're as good as the coaches making the calls right there, and everybody coming to run to the ball. So it's just one of these sports, man, where you just got to trust in everyone and go out there and participate at a high level each and every Sunday.
So coming out of Valdosta State, you were undrafted. You kind of made your way onto the roster with some kind of injuries. You ultimately have a Pro Bowl career. What would be your advice to guys maybe on this Falcons roster who are looking for that kind of opportunity?
Hard work. Hard work. Never giving up. It's right here, the size of your heart. You have to go out there and just continue to fight. Continue to believe in your talent. Believe in yourself. Believe in your teammates. Believe in the scheme you're running, and just go out there and play as hard as you can. And I always tell people that no substitute for hard work. You got to go out there and get it. And when you're on the football field, one thing you can't control is what's gonna happen next. But the one thing you can control, that's effort. Effort. Anybody, no matter what talent level you're at, you can control effort. So you just push and run and hustle to the football. I'm talking defensively now. Run and hustle to the football. Some great things gonna happen. And I've always been coached. When I was in high school, I coached my young guys to do that. When I was coaching high school for a little while, and also even at the pro level, I was playing. I always wrote little notes to myself. And my biggest note for a game was to run to the football no matter what, because great things happen when you get to the football.
We are talking to Jessie the Hammer Tuggle, my man. Now,
yes, sir.
Now Jessie, football's a little different nowadays. Now it's not like back when you played, man. You could be physical. They don't have two-a-days no more. I had 3 years of two-a-days. They don't have two-a-days no more.
Hey, Harry, you talking about 3 years of two-a-days? Check this out. What about 14 years of two-a-days? Okay. Hey, listen, where it was so physical, even as a veteran player, I was thinking after lunch, I just cannot believe I got to go back out there again. You know what I mean? It was like the toughest, hardest camps I ever been through in my life, and in the heat here in Georgia too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it was one of those things where if you make it through training camp, the season was easy. You know what I mean? But
yes.
But time have changed. I mean, have changed. You have to keep the guys healthy. You got salary cap. You got to keep the top guys injury free. To be successful. So I see that, but everything that comes that good, there's some bad to it. Some side effect to it as well. And that's just most guys are not as physical, as they once were. But not to take anything away from the current guys. I know they feel like they get beat up all the time. The rules don't change. We can't hit guys hard. I'm like, yeah, you can hit hard. You see what happened last Sunday, right? When Fourier came down the line, came down the line and knocked the quarterback out. To me, I was like, okay, man, I used to have at least 2 of those hits a game, at least 2 a game. So you calculate that. I used to have about 35 of those a year. So you run to the football, you put your helmet on the body and run through people, not to people. It's different when you run to a running back, and also it's different when you run through a running back. So that's the way I played.
How many more years you think you would have been able to play under these new rules that we have in football?
Okay, let me see. Probably, I played 14. I got credit for 15. I'm thinking 21, man. That might be pushing it a little bit, man. But if I'd have saved my body earlier, the knees would stayed there, the shoulders there, and I wouldn't have killed myself in training camp. Between 18 and 21 years. and that's pushing it, right?
I love it though, man. All the teams you played on here in Atlanta, who was your one favorite teammate? Somebody hey, we out tonight, dog. It's time to go hit the spot. Who was your favorite team?
What? I had a bunch of guys, man, I played with that was great, and I love to hang out with, without a doubt. And had to be the linebackers. You know what I mean? I can remember times when me and Kenny Tippins and Darren Connors, these guys from the 90s that we used to all hang out. And then, then as I got older, I was around a lot of younger guys that were 10 years younger than me. So, Keith Brookins and Henri Crockett, we always used to hang out. So I always hung out with the linebackers who I was currently playing with. And it was pretty cool because I remember, being on teams when I was the youngest linebacker. And I looked up to guys like Joel Williams and Buddy Curry. And I was like, man, how in the world is playing this long? How are they doing this? And they would take us out to the bars, man, and hang out. But the crazy part is to make us pay. I'm not the first one. I'm a free agent guy. So the youngest guy always had to pay, right? And so as we got older, I would take the young guys out. I didn't pay for anything. I was like, hey, man, y'all got to take care of this bill, man. So it's cool to hang out with the teammates and particularly the younger guys. And because you get away from football and they see you as a different kind of person. You know what I mean? And I think, as a veteran, I think that's what young guys looked at me. They thought I was so serious and worked hard all the time. But when they get me out, having a beer with them, laughing with them, and not even talking about football, And then the next day we go to work, they say, man, this dude is dead serious. You know what I mean? It just changes. So it was real cool, man, just hanging out with all sorts of guys. But I mostly just hung out with the backers.
I like that.
Your dues, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious, Jesse, what your thoughts are on this current Falcons defense and maybe what you've seen, on film or just kind of watching them, what they need to do to kind of be successful in the rest of the season.
I think the biggest thing they got to do, and we talked about it earlier, is just stay focused on the big picture. Trusting each other, believe in each other, believe in the scheme, and play as fast as you possibly can play. The defense, even when I'm talking to my son, I tell Jared, I said, look, man, the guys look up to you, whatever, lead by example. You can say whatever you want to say in the locker room. That don't mean they don't carry much weight with a lot of guys. But when they see you on the football field and you busting your butt in the third quarter and fourth quarter, and you're losing by 10 or you're winning by 10, it doesn't matter. Take your eyes off the scoreboard and just play every down. And I think if the guys would do that the rest of the season, everybody want to come in the season. Their goals are to make the playoffs and try to get to the how about to say World Series, Super Bowl. All right, try to get to the Super Bowl. And the craziest thing is, to get there, you have to set mini goals and the little goals. You got to take care of the goals. Hey, man, win this week. Let's say can win 2 in a row. All right, let's say can win 2 conference games. It's the little goals you set, and when you accomplish that goal, you set another goal. And they just stay focused on that the rest of the season and just finish this thing off. Whether they say, look, guys, we're gonna try to finish. Or if we got to finish 8-8, we're gonna finish 8-8 or 8. Oh, it's 8-9 now. I'm sorry, 17 games. All right, so whatever it is, you're trying to figure out what you want to do, but you want to be on that positive side. If you want to try to make it 500, you want to be 9-8, or you want to be on that positive side no matter what. And even if 9-8 don't get you to the playoff, it's something to build on from next year.
It's so true. Those little things do add up to be big things at the end of the day. Well, Jesse, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Awesome stuff. Anyone who wants to check out the full conversation, head to fox5atlanta.com, and we'll be right back on Rise Up Tonight.